Oh no, that was the Saturday Night Live. Just Texas with a dollar sign in front of it.
It's Stexas.
Your answer, three. A
What episode
combination of
number is
3 and 5.
This is episode 188, and we're calling it Where the Heck is P4 because we've been gone a while.
Oh,
188.
okay.
I got to. Where is Bort? Gotta get the gotta get it up to the right volume.
I was sending out the tweet.
Cool. Alright. So we're in the cold open thing where we talk at each other about what we're doing, and then I say, go with the theme song.
But I'm warm.
Nice and cozy and snuggly.
I just took a shower and I'm wearing pajamas.
I got a
Alright,
haircut.
fine. It can be a warm open then. Whatever. It's a lukewarm open. We'll compromise.
It's a hot open.
We'll compromise with Joseph. No, it's only a hot open if we're doing a midnight snack.
Midnight snack.
Midnight snack. I miss the old midnight snacks. Alright. Probably I don't, but like I like the idea of them. I also like the idea of pee streams, so you know, I'm just that way.
Whatever.
Go with the theme
you can
song!
do these streams if you want to.
I'm going with the theme song.
I don't care.
This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game. Hello and welcome back to the Player 4 Podcast. New year, new we. I am one of your hosts, Tristan, aka Shagrazier.
Alex, a.k.a. Chaos Black 21.
And I'm Joseph, the other guy, and Jay Dunlap is my username.
It's true. No Malachi tonight. I could not wake him up. I tried. I did. I called twice on his phone. He's just gone.
Oh, Malachi.
He's been like hibernating for a month.
It's been troubling.
It's been more than a month.
He goes into work early and stays late, even though I was told that was something he was going to be doing less of at the new job. But he's making a lot more money and he's happy, so I guess that's what matters.
As long as he's happy. Because every time we hear him, he's tired.
Well, we've got a few things to talk about. I put up some topics over there. I figure we should do a life catch-up because it's been like a month and a half since we did any podcasting because life has just been so hectic for everybody. Then I figured we'd talk about what we've been doing since the new year, which I guess is just more life catch-up. You know, this just shows how on it I am. We got to do it twice. So make sure you say all the same stuff over again, just to get a good recording of it. Then I figure we'll probably talk about some D&D stuff because I am in a drought right now and I need to talk about D&D stuff. And then there's general gaming stuff because Alex had some video games he wanted to talk about. We can flip the order on that though. It's okay. And then we can get the flip out of here.
We can flip the order and then get the flip out of here.
Yeah.
So what should we talk about first? Are we talking about what's all been going down, I guess, since we've been gone for a month and a half?
I mean, I do want to talk about, like, first of all, you know, sorry we haven't been posting anything, but as we've all agreed in the past, we do this because we enjoy it, and if things are too crazy, we prioritize other things over the podcast. So, you know, we try to be weekly, but it doesn't always happen. Mostly it's been painful for me because it's like, this is my chance to hang out with you guys during the week since you're all over the country. So I'm glad that we're finally here together again, with the exception of Malachi, who I'm going to cry at later.
You're going to cry at him.
Yeah. Projectile crying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what the holidays do, is they create chaos with schedules, and so that's pretty much the main reason why we haven't been around, because I mean, you got plus New Year, and it all just happened to be happening literally around like Tuesday, Wednesday, like the middle of the week. That's when like all the freaking big days were.
Yeah.
And so we weren't able to do anything.
Basically. And I mean, I feel like it's been all messed up since the end of November. Since Thanksgiving. It's been kind of crazy. Like, I'm a creature of habit, and I like scheduling, and so it's like, yes, I have my job 5 days a week, and then there's the weekend, but D&D is always something to look forward to, then followed by the podcast. So it's like, I know it's Tuesday because it's D&D day. I know it's the middle of the week now because it's podcast day. And ever since, like, the holidays rolled in at the end of November, and, like, Sam went out of the country, so we had to miss D&D that week, and then we had to shift it to a later time in the week because Guaco went to go see the Star Wars Open on normal D&D day, and then nobody could make it to the next one, and then there was the holiday, and nobody could make it to the next one, and then there was another holiday. It was just like, we were on this, like, every other week schedule. I'm like, well, I mean, it's regular, but I don't feel like I'm getting enough of my friends.
Yeah, and then you flew to the Midwest.
Yeah, and then we finally get back, and we had the one session that we pushed it to Thursday after New Year's, so that was on the 2nd of January, and then the 6th of January, the Monday of that following week, I had to fly out to Madison for work, and things were good. It was my first business trip. And because I've never worked at a job that ever had me go anywhere for work, there's always just work in the office. So this was interesting. I got to go off location, have my flights paid for and everything by work, and work in another facility with a different team, and that was different. And I was also in more of an overseer role rather than a grunt role, because I was just sort of. That team there is the ones doing that project, and my job was kind of just to make sure that it was going the way it was supposed to go, and that people were on task, and that it was being documented properly. So I did have to do some grunt-level documentation, but mostly it was to say, this is how the documentation needs to look. Here, now you do the documentation based on this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of different. But that meant we missed D&D last week, and so then finally I was back. We'd been off for another week. I'm like, all right, we can get back on schedule. And then one of our players had a death in the family. And, health and family come before the game. So it was like, well, we're going to miss this week. Sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of been... It messes with my schedule, my internal rhythm. I don't have much of an internal rhythm, but it's definitely based on my weekly activities like D&D and the podcast.
Your internal clock's still going like, is it Tuesday yet? We haven't had D&D.
We haven't had a Tuesday in like 4 weeks. When's it going to be Tuesday?
His internal rhythm is usually like bump, 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 and right now it's bump.
I'm so sad about the length of this delay. When's the next bump?
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
It's so stressful. Oh, goodness. So, that's what's been going on with me. I've just been like, let me have my regularly scheduled programming back. How about for you, Joseph? You've been busy and not... You've been missing from the podcast more than the rest of us, so let's hear from you a little bit about what you did over the holidays. And
all right, then. So I'm just going to give you the full rundown of how my break went.
Oh, it's going to be big. Infodump.
So
the full rundown.
He's one of those NPCs, Alex.
Oh, yeah. So I had an NPC one time, now that we're chasing a rabbit.
Yep.
Who was an old lady who ran a bathhouse. And she was very open about her sex life. Like, oh yeah, that's the room where my husband and I, when we were dating, we totally got it on when there were people outside the room that didn't know.
It's the too much information, lady.
All right. So first thing was I signed up for Reddit Secret Santa,
Ooh.
and that was fun.
Oh.
I shopped for someone who liked Marvel and video games and Star Wars.
Oh, so
I was
perfect.
like,
It was easy.
yeah, and he wants to be a programmer. So I sent him a pop bobblehead of Iron Man the time travel outfit,
Okay.
and then also sent him a mug that said, "No, I will not fix your computer." Thought you would appreciate that, Tristan.
I haven't had to fix anybody else's computer in a while, and it's been double fun because there have been so many computer problems with this project at work, and they're not for me to deal with. We have a software team, and I get to watch them stress over computer problems.
To answer Ash Luna, I found that I think on Amazon. I just searched for it. I just was just searching for Iron Man stuff. Then my Secret Santa sent me a set of dice that I gave Michael, and an Elvish style dice tower that I'm going to have my D&D group put together next week. My student group.
Who'd you get it from?
I'm going to make them do it for me.
Oh.
And then they sent me. They sent me a coffee mug that doesn't look like anything. Doesn't look like anything to me until you heat it up when there's coffee in it. And then suddenly you see the Skyrim logo, you see a guard on a horse, and then the wagon, and there's a guy in the wagon who says, "Oh, hey, you're finally awake."
That's awesome. That is a brilliant way to use that.
So,
Sir, there's a wind on the wing of the plane. I'm telling you, there's
I told my
someone
students
out
about
there.
it, and I said I'm going to bring it to class tomorrow because I forgot to bring it on Monday. And they said, "Ooh, bring another coffee cup and pour the coffee into it so we can see it warm up." And I was like, "Oh, like a science experiment." Where like the professor pours something from one thing into another
And it changes color.
in front of the class. And I told Gina, "Oh yeah, that's just like what you do in lab all the time." She's like, "Oh yeah, totally. That's all we do." Since she does chemistry. Let's see. So then I did. Oh, they also sent me a personalized letter and a card. It was nice. I went to Oklahoma City right after school ended, which was awesome. I carpooled and judged Magic Fest Oklahoma City. There hasn't been one there. They skipped a year. It was late 2017. They actually skipped 2 years. And roomed with a group of 4 people. They stayed up till like 2:30 in the morning talking the first night. It was really salty. Because if you're on the main event, then you're 8 o'clock call. So that was a fun weekend. I was on deck checks on the main event, which was interesting because this is the first year where they require 2019 is what I'm talking about. The first year they required entirely online deck lists. They started it that summer, and so we were logging into computers on our judge accounts connected to the Channel Fireball website, and then we got access to the deck list. So we were checking that way. What the problem was, I had to touch people's nasty cards, and I got sick.
No.
So that happened. So the next day, as I was working on a smaller PTQ, a Players Tour qualifier, started to feel that tightness in the throat. I'm like, oh, great. So the next day, I went to a judge conference, and I was sick. So I just ate fruit like all morning. Just all the fruit that they had laid out. Just I was eating cantaloupe and was eating whatever I could find. So, and then just drinking water, and I felt human by lunchtime and had like fries and a chicken thing. So I was sick.
Thing.
I don't know. It was like I can't have sandwiches because it's bread. So I think I did like chicken tenders.
Oh, okay.
And then I felt human again. And then Gina came and picked me up that night from Fort Worth instead of me staying the night there. So I just felt like garbage by that point. So I was sick for about 2 weeks. All the fruit. I was sick for about 2 weeks and went to the doctor because the cold had gone away and then I had bronchitis. So the doctor gave me something to take care of the bronchitis, like antibiotics. And then Gina got sick while I was sick and then got me sick again. So I have one day of no bronchitis, and then I had a cold again, and I was really salty about it.
I would be too.
So
Like,
a
I'm
few days into
free
that,
next day. Ugh.
I could finally breathe. So I was super salty about that because I couldn't breathe for a few days. And then I was like, we're going to the doctor. We're taking care of this now. So I had like bronchitis, but like just viral cold bronchitis, not like antibiotics bronchitis. So they put me on, I was on Cipro first. And this time I was on the thing that makes you get over your cold quicker. Like it fights viruses. I forgot what it was called. And I was on that
I'm not sure.
for about...
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure of what it's called.
It was like 2 syllables, but it was cool. It worked. Oh, the text doesn't fade. Sweet. Yeah, when Malachi was doing it, I had him set it to be a full minute before it faded. Where was I? So I was on that medicine for about 3 days before I got to travel to Austin to do Magic Fest Austin. And again, I'm iterating. That was 3 or 4 weeks in between. And finally, I was starting to feel good by the time it was time to work because the medicine was doing its job. I was getting through the cold quicker. And I worked on main event again. This time I was on pairings. My team lead and then my head judge the next day on the PTQ was the same person. His name was Julio, and he was from Argentina. And he teaches English as a second language.
That's a far distance.
Yeah. He's a teacher just like me. So he spends his breaks traveling. So he was in the U.S. for most of Christmas break after Christmas ended, and he is going to be somewhere else in the States this coming weekend, like Florida, I think, and then he's going back home so he can start teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to stay for the development conference because pretty much every single one has a development conference now, organized by one of my friends from DFW, but I had to teach on Monday. So instead, we left on Sunday. I brought the whole family with me, the fandamily, and the computer, and we went home instead of me getting to spend another day there. But I had a good time. I team led for the 3rd time, which was awesome, and I did an investigation. That was cool.
Oh.
Which is when you got to get more information, and you got to make a ruling and make a decision about what happened, and it was pretty cool. The head judge made me do it. Julio was like, you're going to do the investigation. So I got the information. It took 10 minutes. And then he said, now make a ruling. It was a situation where one player scooped his cards up before the other player and then wondered if, because he didn't say that he had conceded, that they had in fact tied. So I got all the information, and it was clear that they had already established that he was going to be the one who would eventually lose, because neither of them were able to do anything. They were both locked out of the game by a card that was not allowing them to do anything. And they had established he had fewer cards in his library. So I made my ruling, and he said, I agree. And then I said, okay, well, you've got 3 minutes to finish your 3rd game. And then they tied. They shook hands and said, okay, we're done. After 10 minutes of investigation.
All right. How is there like an average time that investigation can take?
An investigation could simply be, what did you say when you cast this card? And they say, I said this, but I forgot this, and you say, okay. Or it could be a 20-minute investigation because you're trying to nail down if someone cheated.
Okay.
There was a de-escalation situation on the main event with someone that was at the table that your match might or might not end up on Twitch. So it was something where the players were disagreeing and they were starting to get heated, and the judge over there called Judge. That's how you get another judge's attention. Mm-hmm. And I came over and I said, what? And he said, I need a burgundy right now, which is the color of shirt that the 3 head judges wear. I went and got the actual head judge. He went over there. Do what?
I thought it was a drink.
Nice. I need a burgundy. Stat.
You know,
There's a situation where the players were just very on edge, and in the head judge's own words, he kind of let them vent it on him. and that was about a 15 to 20 minute situation. Any call that takes more than a few seconds is technically an investigation because you're trying to get more information.
Mm-hmm.
But some investigations results in investigating specifically for cheating. And any investigation needs to get adequate information to rule it out. Even if it's just, what did you say? And they say, I forgot the token. You're like, okay, so here's your warning, and let's get the token on there.
Okay.
I saw on Twitter that you were going to start doing videos to show these examples of these types of situations to help train judges.
Yes, that is something I was working on this morning. You may have also seen the tweet where this morning I ended my lecture by saying, that's all I got for today. I'm going to play video games. And I went to my office, and I turned on the computer, and the window open was a YouTube playlist of videos I've been combing through. And I went, oh yeah, I got to work on this. And then they mentioned a card that I like, so I started playing Arena. Magic Arena, because they said a card name of the deck that I have, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played Magic in a while. So I played Magic.
Judge problems. I didn't play the game. It's like DM problems. You don't get to play anymore.
I mean, yeah, I only play on Arena occasionally. I haven't played paper Magic in forever.
I actually it's expensive and difficult. Like you got to go to a place and meet face to face with people,
and also buy the cards. But yeah. I'm at a point where if you want me to play, then just let me borrow something.
Have you sold everything? Is that it?
I don't have anything really that's standard legal. I've got a modern deck I've been building for Michael, and the value of it overall has gone down because there's a new format. Called Pioneer, but Modern's still being played. It's just a lot of what I've worked to build has tanked in price, but that means it will be easier to finish it. So, and I've been teaching Michael how to play it, and I enjoy playing it as well. It's called Tron. It's you get these 3 land cards, and suddenly instead of 3 mana, you get 7, which is pretty nice.
I mean, that's +4.
I mean, it's 3 lands, and on turn 3, you get to play a 7-mana Planeswalker that just throws you way ahead.
Yeah, that is... Okay, so that's the one with Planeswalkers, or do a lot of the formats utilize the Planeswalkers?
Oh, a lot of them do. Okay. The Planeswalkers are basically just
Commanders.
Utility cards that do the thing that you need the thing to do for your deck.
Gotcha.
You play creatures? Well, you definitely need a Planeswalker that either makes the creatures bigger or gets you more creatures. You don't play creatures, you need a Planeswalker that either gets you cards or helps you win.
Wait, aren't they all supposed to help you win, whether directly or indirectly?
Sure, but this is specifically a deck that doesn't play many creatures or any creatures. The Planeswalker is the way they win.
Okay. By, like,
as opposed
having
to
a Dead Man Switch thing, or by casting spells?
I mean, kind of. Like, a Planeswalker that says your creatures get bigger doesn't do anything if you don't play creatures.
Yeah.
But a Planeswalker that like lets you draw cards or destroy creatures or gives you some way to deal damage to your opponent, that's useful for a deck that doesn't play as many creatures. D&D came up, and I spent a significant amount of time over the break, especially before I was sick and just dead, working on developing the D&D world that I've had for a long time, that I hadn't really spent too much time developing. I just sort of had a few hand-drawn maps and just like stuff in my head and some stuff I typed down in a like resource book that I never finished about a specific area. I went on a website, I finished the world, the continent map, and then I detailed it. And what else? I did all kinds of stuff, like who lives in this area, like where are all the cities at, even if I haven't named them.
Yeah. Well, why don't we let Alex tell us a little bit about his thing, and then we will jump right back into the D&D discussion.
Sure.
I'm holding your place right there. You developed your map, your world some more.
I pretty much just had holidays and work. That's basically what I've been doing.
Okay, so you were developing your D&D world, Joseph.
I mean, it's true. I don't really have anything big, so let's just go back to Joseph's stuff.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say I am jealous that you don't have much to say, considering a lot of what I had to say was being sick over the course of a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I haven't actually been sick. Knock on wood over here.
It wasn't my fault. It's just people don't wash their hands before they touch their nasty cards.
Ugh.
I actually left feedback that they need to have gloves available.
That would be nice.
Because you have to pick up
I was
the
going to
card and read
suggest
it
hand
to them.
sanitizer. To what?
Because you have to pick up the card and read it to them.
You got to pick up the cards and sort them, and then look at a list on the computer and figure out if the cards they are playing is in fact what they registered.
Oh, you actually have to go through each deck right before they begin.
We try to hit 10 to 20% of the field over the course of the day.
Okay.
We grab them. We grab a deck right after it's been presented, like shuffled and presented. And presentation means this is random and also legal. So then once they've done that, then we can sneak in and say, okay, you've been targeted for a random deck check. And then you give one deck to the person across from you at the table, the judge, and then you grab the other one and you check it against the list. Okay, is this what they registered? Okay. Is this are there any illegal cards in the list? Did they accidentally leave a sideboard card from their sideboard deck in the main deck? In that case, there's a bit of investigation, but usually it's an oopsie.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing was, I had to give out a game loss as the deck checks team lead for the PTQ this past Sunday, where someone was pre-sideboarded 2 cards on accident. I said, "Who did you play last game?" He said it was an Oko mirror. Oko just got banned heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. And how do you sideboard against that? And he said, these 2 cards for these 2 cards. And I said, well, funny, you should say that. And the funny thing was, what he didn't know was he was walking into another Oko mirror.
Oh.
And I knew it, but he didn't.
So wait, why did you? What part of that was illegal? The sideboarding the
You
2 cards?
cannot go into game 1 with your sideboard cards.
Oh. Okay,
There has to be an element of surprise.
He meted. Okay, so he meted from another tournament. This was his first game at this tournament, but he had just done.
No, he was meted from the previous match. This was like round 5.
Oh, okay.
So
it was
4,
it was match
against...
1 from round 5, but from last match, from round 4,
yes.
he had Oko mirrored, and so
yes.
he sideboarded.
And this time it was another Oko mirror, but you can't pre-sideboard. It was an accident.
So,
mirror, of course, meaning same deck.
Yeah. Thank you. But if it was an accident,
You seem like you have a question.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to formulate it. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just hung up on a little bit of a litigation thing here, which is, if he accidentally sideboarded the cards, why was it a loss?
The policy has specific examples for different situations where we do or don't give a game loss.
Uh-huh.
If it's right as the game is starting, which is when they present and then we say, hey, random deck check, that's the point where we're going to just not have that game start.
Uh-huh.
So we just end that game and start the next one so that they can fix it.
Oh.
If the game is underway and they call the judge on themselves and the opponent has not yet made a decision based off of a card that shouldn't even be in the game, then we don't end the game. Instead, we just swap out the cards.
Okay.
And the opponent gets to choose, say, you've got this card in your hand that shouldn't be there, and then you're like, oh, that means that I have this other card in my deck. Your opponent can choose which replacement card goes where.
Okay. It's complicated.
And then if the opponent has made any decision based off of a card that shouldn't have been there, and you go, oh crap, that card's not supposed to be there, then now that game is over. Because of the advantage generated therein.
Yes. It's a very complex system that they try to use to keep things fair.
Oh yeah, if you compare it to like sports refereeing, you've got to know the rules of the game, and you've got to know what the penalties are. But like, let's use soccer as an example. Really, the only things you can do is give a card and give an indirect kick or direct kick. Like, there's nothing else you can do other than like corner kicks, throw-ins, goalie kicks. It's all very straightforward. With Magic, it's like well, what happened that was wrong? Well, what did they say? Did they say this, or did they say this, or did they not say anything? Okay, that's definitely this infraction.
Are we going to drop
So
the
I give a
ball in the
warning
middle of the
for that.
field or shoot it from a cannon?
I mean, it's pretty complicated, but we teach each other. The
Yeah.
documents are clear, and then we help each other remember.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't want to. I want to derail everything with magic. D&D. I was just gonna say I'm excited because I get to start up again.
All right.
I've got my game I do with students, and that's gonna be fun. And then I've got one that I just started, and we had one session before everyone got sick, which is Gina and the kids, and someone that we've known for a long time that I invited, and he knows the kids. And then one of my students who's like so old we're confused why he's a student at this point.
Oh.
Who like his Xbox controller was at my house for 2 years.
Huh.
Like he's been over. So we're gonna do a little campaign at home. Sarah's even playing in it. She's playing a half-orc monk whose name is Branner, as in Bruce Banner.
Gotcha.
They just point and they say punch, and she'll do it. And I built it for her. The campaign is a winter journey because we started in December.
Yep.
They've been hired by the Explorers Guild to travel from their temperate area that's still, snowed over, north into a city in the tundra and establish a chapter of the Explorers Guild with a sense of urgency. So while they know that something's not they're being untoward in some way, they're getting paid nicely. They got nothing better to do.
Sounds good.
So it'll be interesting. I'll give updates.
All right. I'm excited to hear about it. I've been posting to my company Slack for people who want to try playing some D&D. I've got some colleagues who want to do it. And so I've created a whole bunch of first-level characters, just random selection of race and class, and I'll print those out and bring them in whenever I get this set up, and we'll do a one-shot.
Fine.
At work.
Woo.
5th edition, right?
Yeah, 5th edition. I've recently gotten to do a one-shot in 4th edition. I love the system for 4th edition. Everything about how combat runs it's very nostalgic for me, and I really like the system because it makes the character classes really stand out against each other, because everything that you do, no matter what class you use, is presented as here is a class power that you use. So, martial classes, they swing their sword in an interesting way or shoot their bow in an interesting way, and each thing, either does more damage or has a side effect, like knocking something down or pushing it backward. And it's simple to run through the combat because it's just, okay, you have a standard action and you have you have like 4 powers that are all standard actions. Which one do you want to use? You have a bonus action. You've got 1 power that's a bonus action. Do you want to use it? You have a movement action. Do you use it? And that's it. It's kind of straightforward. It was designed to be very streamlined for people who have never done it before, and even veteran players. It's a gameable system, and you can really get into it and make some really cool stuff happen in it. And that's what I had fun with it. But I will say that I'd never DM'd 4th edition before, and it really brought me back to my days of trying to DM 3.5. The encounters are challenging to balance properly. And I had the DMG in front of me saying, okay, here's how you work an experience budget. Here's the kinds of monsters you want to put in for these levels. And I'm working off of that as my basis. I'm still like, wait, this feels like it's going to be too hard. This feels like it's going to be too easy. How do I have this many monsters? Why is my budget so high? And so by the end, I had an okay, the game went okay, but all the combats were so long because I was like, I filled out the experience budgets. I'm like, this is so many creatures. This is so much going on. But it was fun.
It is interesting in 3.5, finding that balance between not just having one monster that can just get flanked into infinity and die, versus having too many monsters.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because I've been loving getting back into 3.5 with all my games right now.
I find that while there are a lot of failings with 5e for me, just the organization of the book and how explicit and how not explicit they are with the rules. It's a good system, and more so, it's really easy to build encounters in. Like, I almost feel like I'm playing Shadowrun for how easily I can put together an encounter. Because as long as I have a basic understanding of how powerful should a creature be if it's going up against my party at this level, you know, if I want it to be an easy thing, a hard thing, or a normal thing to fight, it's really easy for me to build that. Whereas with 4E, I was always very concerned with getting the experience budget right, and that's important to do, otherwise you're going to either underwhelm or completely overwhelm the players.
Right.
So I like 5E. I enjoyed 3.5. I could not DM 3.5. DMing 4E is more challenging than DMing 5E. But I still love 4E. I would be a player in any 4E game if somebody was running it. Some fun things for you, Joseph. We've continued the story for the Tuesday game as much as we can, as you know, in working around these scheduling issues of the last couple months. But something that I thought you might find interesting is that the character Leah, who you were there when she entered the story as Tam.
Little girl,
what can you bring to the team? Little girl, what do you bring to the team? Do you think she'll contribute? One of my favorite questions ever asked. She recently gained the spell Scrying and asked to find out if Tam was still alive.
Nice.
And they found that Tam was still alive, and Tam had joined the Everwatch army in pushing back the invaders from Bromdor, which was the issue that was going on when your schedule could no longer allow you to participate in the game.
Nice.
So you had disappeared. Having disagreed, way back when, a year and a half, 2 years ago, you had disagreed with the party's decision for how to handle this invasion that was going on, and Tam had left the party to go fight his own way, and the party had spent all that time assuming he was dead. They had found a way to put a hold, they put an end to the war and to the invasion, and recent events rekindled that. The nation that signed the treaty reneged on their treaty, and so they went to they used Scrying to look for Tam and saw him fighting. So yes, he's still there, still fighting the good fight. He's
in his element.
He is. They also met Tam's tribe a while back.
I remember that.
Yeah, they didn't like Tam's tribe.
No, they weren't as...
I don't think Tam likes Tam's tribe.
Tam does not like Tam's tribe, and let me tell you, Tam's tribe does not like Tam.
He doesn't care.
Oh, I know. It was just funny because when they realized that the tribe was Clan Nodam, and that it was the same name their former ally had, they're like, "Oh, do you guys know this dude?" And they're like, "Yeah, we know that jerk. Why do you know him?"
I mean, he only became a barbarian because he thought it would make him a good enough fighter that his dad would let him join the guard.
Mm.
He called it a self-taught fighter.
Ah, I see. So that was kind of fun. I got to do some very fun things recently. It's always funny when I lay the seeds of stuff way back. Like, I choose to... like, how I'm going to do the next part of what's going on, what else is happening in the world. I don't want to say how I'm going to do the next part of the story, because the players are making the story, but I am laying the next set of events that they don't have control over. What's going on in the world that they're not influencing, but they can influence. I don't know how to say this correctly. There are not plot rails, there's just stuff going on that they can choose to or not to get involved in. Is that better?
Makes sense.
So I laid some hints as to what was going on while they were in the dungeon, and only one of the players had received those hints, and I kept asking him after every session that he didn't talk to the rest of the party about it when he was gonna. And he's like, it's just not the right time. It's just not the right time. Let's deal with this thing first. I'll do it later. I'm like, okay. You get to choose when you do it. That's why I gave you the information. And I was always interested that it hadn't happened yet. Then they left the dungeon. He still wasn't doing it. I'm like, that information is burning a hole in my pocket. What's going on here? And then finally, like, all of that information that he didn't give them for the longest freaking time is starting to, like, spill over the walls here into the story. And the party's going, what's going on? And he's like, oh, yeah, so there was this thing I was supposed to tell you.
How about that time that what was it? They did something while I wasn't there. Some clerics of Pelor.
Yeah, they stole Pelor's armor.
And then I, apologized to the Pelor symbol.
You yelled at...
Pelor spoke to me.
Yeah, you also yelled at Riken to give the armor back.
Yes.
And he wasn't happy about it.
Nope. But it's okay. Riken is happy now. He did Pelor armor.
Yeah, Riken's got himself some cord armor. Have we gotten a chance to tell Joseph about that? I don't know if Joseph's been on the podcast when we talked about it.
I've heard some stories about cord armor. Mostly it's when Malachi says that his Dragonborn is better than Alex's, and Alex says, but I got cord armor.
Yeah, but I've got cord armor. What's so cool about your cord armor, Alex?
It has awesome abilities, and
it's red, and it's got a siren on it.
I can climax song someone if I get pissed enough.
Wait, what?
How do you get the armor on?
So it's all within this gem on this necklace, and he has to do a chant, and then all of a sudden he goes magical girl on everyone, and the armor just appears on him as he's silhouetted naked in front of everyone.
He's silhouetted, so nobody can see everything, but everyone knows he's actually naked.
I'm so glad I'm fighting a war right now.
He gets the full Sailor Moon transformation. It's wonderful.
But there's this one power that he has that can do a lot of damage, but it's called the climax song, and so it's assumed that if he uses it, he's basically sacrificing himself to beat anything that they might be facing that he's using it on.
It's been unclear, and nothing that they've found has given them any indication what the cost of this power is, but they have stories of the last person who utilized the armor using a power that's description is similar and then dying. So
yeah,
they're pretty well convinced that this is that last ditch effort to stop whatever enemy you're fighting.
Yeah, though in the stories it was called Final Flash. And this is climax song, so it's still
it's not
up
much
in the
worse.
air.
It's not much worse.
He's having a hard time adjusting to doing his magical girl transformation.
A hard time.
This ability is like the button on Galaxy Quest.
By Grepthar's hammer, you will be avenged. That's what it is.
It's the one where they don't know what it does.
Yeah.
And a fan theory ends up being correct for no reason.
Yeah. It just sets everything back 7 seconds or something.
That could be useful.
It could be. That would be really useful. Damn it, now I have to design an item that does that and hide it somewhere in the world.
Uh-oh.
So
back a turn. Yeah, so no, it's been great. I'm just I'm on the edge of my seat over here. They got these messages when they were leaving the dungeon that, like, somebody important was being held hostage in exchange for some item that their thief stole. So the whole party's like, why you steal shit? And he's like, hey, we have to go find my friend, you know, she's captive and we can't let that fly. So they went to go do this exchange, the item for the person, and in the middle of it, their sorcerer declares that he's the son of an ancient red dragon to try and intimidate the thieves into giving up the hostage without taking the item. But one of the thieves isn't really a thief, and then threatens to kill him for being associated with the Chromatic Dragons, and reveals that he's part of an ancient order that's trying to keep the oldest Chromatic Dragons asleep. So it's gotten really intense all of a sudden. Because now he's sitting there going, oh, it was just a trick, I'm not actually related to a Chromatic Dragon, please don't kill me.
Not to mention the fact that now we're learning that one of the things that's like keeping the black dragon at bay has been taken, and so we're afraid that now we're going to have to face not only a green dragon, but now a black dragon.
It's going to be fun. Things are looking up.
Nice. Did I tell you the story about the hostage situation in a D&D game I ran?
Was it in the Star Wars game where they just shot the hostage taker in the face or something?
No.
Okay.
Star Wars ended with big explosion, but that was because it was a Super Star Destroyer prototype.
Oh.
No, this was my D&D world, but we were doing a different game system just to test it out. The one I've been working on, not been working on, and it was a hostage situation where this random dude shows up in their hotel room like Batman and goes, hey, so you're trying to rescue a person kidnapped by the Rogues Guild, and I need to get in there too, so let's go together. So they go with him because he's trustworthy. And while they're rescuing the hostage, who's the daughter of a politician, he's off doing whatever. So as they're leaving, they're running down the street, and he's coming after them going, you need to run. And they're like, what? What'd you do? And then the whole building explodes. Because he's blown up the Thieves Guild.
Nice.
But they've got the hostage now. But the dad of the hostage, who they've got in a safe house, is still getting communications from the Rogues Guild, who are saying, hey, let's continue with the meet. Like, they're bluffing that they still have her. So they leave the girl in the safe house and sneak around the meet to get vantage points, and one of them is a mage on the roof of a building. And sure enough, like, the Rogues Guild is there, and they're ready to double cross everyone, but like they don't know that they're being surrounded. And one of them gets hit with like a force blast that knocks him off the roof, and he flies 30 feet into the courtyard. And they just like lay waste to the rogues who are trying to bluff that they still have the girl.
Well,
it was all kinds of fun.
That escalated quickly.
And they had to walk in slow motion when the building blew up behind them. I mean, you're obligated.
Yeah, and you can't look back at it either because you're too cool to look at the explosion.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. I think it's time to get the flip out of here.
I think so. Well, wait. Let us. We kind of stole the show. Alex said he had something to say about Fallen Order, and I want to hear a minute about Fallen Order.
Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I beat it and 100%ed it.
Nice.
That wasn't a minute.
I mean,
every time we let Alex talk,
he's just like, I've only got 3 things to say, and then he says 2.
Well, we've been talking about other stuff. It's very Dark Souls-esque. You have, like, with Dark Souls, you had campfires that you would go with, and like that would be like your save points and like your progress points. They changed those to meditation circles for the Star Wars Jedi. But it's very Dark Souls, but doable Like Dark Souls is hard even on like normal mode. I haven't played Dark Souls, but that's just what I've heard. This you can play on normal and still be decent at it. You might have some trouble at some parts, but you'll end up getting through it. But I'm just happy that it was a game that is fun. It made you feel like a Jedi. I loved using the lightsaber Force powers, and I hope that they make more games like this. And the ending was really cool. I really like the ending, so I'm not going to spoil it. And I just like that they made the achievements doable so that I could actually do all the achievements.
Yay! How many games have you 100%ed?
I've 100%ed 3, I think. One was Skyrim on the 360 before they like had DLC, which now I have it on Xbox One, so I'm going through it again. Then Star Wars Fallen Order was another one, and then the last one was Tales from the Borderlands, because that's pretty much like if you just follow the story, you basically get all the achievements.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've 100%ed any games. I don't think I have.
I mean, usually they're very difficult, and usually you have to do multiple playthroughs, which some of these playthroughs are like, you have to do it on Master Kick Your Butt difficulty. And so it's just like, well, that's not happening. But the Fallen Order, actually, I only played it once. You can do all of the achievements in one playthrough.
On the not hardest difficulty?
Even on the not hardest difficulty. Like, you can do it on the easiest difficulty. I personally did it on the second easiest difficulty. So on the normal difficulty. There's 2 difficulties technically above that. So there's like 4 total difficulties. I did it on the second one.
Okay. Did you feel like a Jedi?
I did. Like I said, I liked using the lightsaber. You get to use a normal lightsaber. Your lightsaber can do like double-bladed. And like there's just so many different things you could do. The force powers and the way that they mapped the force powers, each one had its own button and all that. I'm looking forward to if they make any DLC for it, and or if any like future games come that are like in the same kind of Star Wars Jedi universe kind of stuff. I highly think if you like Star Wars, you should play this game.
Joseph had a question.
I was just going to say there's usually 4 difficulties in every game. It's like story difficulty, normal, this is kind of hard, and why do they have so much health?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. That's almost the descriptions that they had for that.
What difficulty is this, penis flattener?
It's like when I loaded my Mass Effect 1 save through so that I would have awesome gear, but start at the beginning, and I tried it on the hardest difficulty, and it was just spam invincibility and shoot things.
You're just like, nope, can't touch this.
Yeah, if you play a soldier, you can just spam invincibility almost all the time. So I think I only died 1 time.
Goodness.
But I had this battle against, what are they? The big one, the Krogan. There's a Krogan who had me in corner. In Mass Effect, if they're up close, you default to melee. So I spammed invincibility, and he had really high health, and my companion was knocked out. So it was just us hitting each other over and over. But I was actually doing damage, and he couldn't hurt me. So it took about 10 minutes to kill him.
He's the one with the takedown claymore, right? The Kurgan?
Krogans, yeah, they're big. They have big weapons, usually claymore weapons.
Oh, I was making a joke about the Highlander.
Okay. Well, they've got like the big shotguns.
Damn
Sorry.
them. They're too much like my joke. It didn't make sense.
Never mind.
So
No,
okay.
Highlander.
Thank you.
One.
I'm a good friend.
Let's get the flip out of here. I'm gonna cry.
Go cry into your cereal.
I'm gonna cry into my ice cream. I have ice cream now.
Yeah, was it ice cream?
I have ice cream though, right in front of me. All right,
Nice.
let's get the flip out of here. There's no Malachi, so good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hashtag goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello.
You see how I made him wait for it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
gotta make
you're
him wait for it.
mean.
Gotta
Make him want it.
Yeah. Always leave him wanting more.
And then the pillow of solitude at the last second.
Oh, there's gonna be a pillow of solitude because we all got in.
Pillow of solitude.
Oh, we didn't
I saw
talk
that.
about
That's
that.
exciting.
We'll talk about it next time.